And we are live 1 minute early. Hello, everybody. And for those of you watching live, welcome to another live recording of the Living the RV Dream podcast, which is going to be tomorrow's episode 306, which is basically going to be a year in review. And uh, and as I'm going to mention, once I hit the record button, and I don't see anybody here yet, but I'm sure you guys are going to be here momentarily. Otherwise, it's that time of the year where we are, um, you know, uh, a little bit of what we did. Mom had to undergo kind of an emergency retina surgery yesterday. So today she's recuperating. I took her to the follow up. She did extremely well, much better than before. So. Uh, you know, I'm just gonna have to go over there periodically to put the eye drops, and she has to keep her head down for at least a week. So that's the main thing. And other than that, we have the RV DJ here on the chat, and Lewis Clark. And as I said, today is gonna be more or less like a year in review. The RV DJ, good healing vibes to mom. Thank you, and she's already having better vision than she did before. So whatever they diagnosed earlier might have been misdiagnosed. So I don't know. Anyway, Rob on the Rob. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. It's still afternoon where you are. It's 2 p.m. Today has been one of those days that's been a blur. I want to welcome all of you to the live stream. This is going to be the live recording of the podcast. It's going to be more like a year in review, and the same. If you are subscribed to my newsletter or to the mailing list, I a couple of days ago I did a year in review email with links to all the places we've been to. I might post this in the description for the YouTube video and the show notes for the podcast. So, okay, Jill Paris commenting from Facebook. Hi, Roberts. She says, and the RV DJ. My mom had the same surgery. Well, and this is the second time she's had it, but the first time it didn't. I don't think it went so well. So hopefully. Uh, Don Ferrer, greetings and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too. And Brandon Stargell, good afternoon. Can't believe it is the end of the year already. Yeah, this recording is going to be the last. This is the last episode of the year. I rehearsed that, and now it's not working so well. Oh, from Cincinnati, from Cincy, and hello from Paul and Christina Motovich, and Kirk from Minneapolis, Johnny from Buffalo, New York, and Jim Forey. Hi, new plans. Maybe hit Perry by 1st of February and stay a month or so. Homestead, Miami will be tent hotel only for a few days. Well, welcome to Florida, man, and hope to see you. Cindy G, hello, Nancy Reynolds, Walton Parish. You just watch your Lancaster episode. Call us next time so we can show you the best brewers. Definitely. Um, and I wanted to visit Lancaster County again when we did the Hershey RV show, but well, you know how it is when you go to the Hershey RV show, and and uh, anyway, before I get distracted with all the comments, and I'm gonna do a quick Q&A at the end of the podcast recording. I'm gonna hit the record button, and of course, this is the Living the RV Dream podcast that is gonna come out on the podcast app or whatever podcast app you have um, on your mobile device or your computer. So this is going to be episode 306, and the podcast is going to come out tomorrow, December 29th. So without further ado, here we go. This is Living the RV Dream, episode 306 for Friday, December 29th, 2023. Hello, happy campers. Hello, fellow pelican heads and happy travelers around the world. Full timers, part timers, boondockers, van dwellers, weekend warriors, schoolie builders, tent campers, friends, pelican heads. Welcome to the. I rehearsed this. This is the last episode of the year. It is. The next time I'm gonna have to remember to say 2024, which hopefully will be a good year. I have a lot of plans, a lot of travel plans for next year. It all depends on a couple of things, my mom's health being one of them. But we're gonna try to do at least the solar eclipse of April 8th. That's the one that cannot be moved or postponed. And of course, in January we're gonna do the Florida RV Super Show in Tampa. So yeah, today's episode 306, the last episode of the year. I'm coming to you before a live audience on Facebook as Traveling Robert, on the YouTube channel, the Living the RV Dream YouTube channel, and of course on X, formerly Twitter. So today, I wanted to do a quick recap for those of you who are subscribed to my mailing list, to the newsletter, which I really don't, I'm not great at spamming people because I never really send too many emails. I concentrate on doing the regular videos and sometimes shorts, and but I'm gonna try to start doing more emails. We have um, over 8,000 subscribers to the newsletter, and I'll be doing a disservice if I don't update you at least once a month, right? So I wanted to, it's been like one of our best, probably our best traveled year ever. I mean, we went farther and longer than ever before. At least we drove as far away from where we are in the globe as we have ever driven. I don't know if I would have to check if like Germany is farther from Miami than Alaska, and I didn't check. But if anybody can check, as you know, we're before a live audience, so I'm gonna have the feedback from all the Pelican heads on the live audience, and it feels like ages ago, but this year actually began in Arizona. I decided not to go to the Tampa RV show this year, and we went to I wanted to do the Quartzsite RV show properly. Give it a good time, and take my time going there. And I had several options. One of them was gonna take the Gulf Coast through US 98, hugging the Gulf Coast to do South Padre Island and all that stuff. But I decided to go north and and start a series that I decided to call the Great American Cities. So we started with a video here in Miami, Florida, and then we went to Atlanta. As you know, we have family in the outskirts of Atlanta. So or is it Atlanta? I don't know. um, wasn't the greatest Great American Cities video, but we did explore some areas of Atlanta, and what the conclusion that we came with is that perhaps downtown is not the best area to visit in Atlanta. There are several neighborhoods, and that's where Atlanteans, that's what we call it, Atlanteans hang out, and I think we're gonna visit those in the future. We visited our friends, the Falsies, in the Texas Piney Woods. He bought a homestead there some years ago. He built a barn dominium, and the plan, I was thinking to do like a Pelicamp, Texas or something like that, but I didn't find any property that I really wanted to buy at the moment. So it's still still penciled in. At some point we might do it. And then we went to the Dallas Fort Worth area, and that was another episode of the Great American Cities. And it was definitely probably my favorite American city of this particular year. So and for those of you commenting in the comments, I'm gonna start some of those comments, and I'll get to them later in the podcast. Um, yeah, in Dallas Fort Worth, man, it's a clean city. It felt safe for the most part. Fort Worth, we did the cattle run. Very nice in Dallas. We did, of course, the John F. Kennedy assassination site, and we had some great brisket. I mean, it was really, really cool. So from there, we pretty much took the road less traveled to New Mexico, and I think that's the one where we actually went through the Oklahoma Panhandle. No, no, we didn't. No, this one just went through like small towns like Knox City and stuff like that. Um, which happens to be where another YouTuber with RV Debs used to live. We visited Carlsbad Caverns and White Sands National Park. Actually, we didn't know, but from in the middle of New Mexico going into White Sands, we went up in elevation. um, Cloudcraft, I think is the name of the town, and it was raining. And at the higher we went in elevation, all of a sudden rain turned into snow, and that was quite a perilous drive in the snow. The first time I drove in the mountains while it was snowing while towing. Luckily, I had Starship, so I did put it on 4x4, and it went really slow. And then, of course, I stayed one last night at a full hookup site before going to Quartzsite. We stayed at Sonoran Desert, which is it used to be a KOA. Now it's called Sonoran Desert RV Resort. It's very nice, and it's like what, an hour and a half from Quartzsite. It's in Gila Bend. And Quartzsite, of course, we went to the Q23 meetup. I mean, we enjoyed it a lot, and we love Quartzsite. Quartzsite is one of those places that you either love or hate, and we are definitely in the love camp. And I like the cool quirky restaurants and all that. And of course, I had grand plans for the West to continue to California, maybe even do a little bit of the 395 winter permitting, Los Angeles, visit my godmother. And then, I was hiking to this hill called the Q Mountain, as you probably recall, and I broke my fibula. I just cracked it. I mean, I was walking right after it. So we went to Havasu City, and they put me in a cast. And actually, I removed it because at the time Ely wasn't still confident in towing the trailer. So we went to Las Vegas. Let's go to a big town where if we have to stay for a while, we can be comfortable. There's Uber Eats, there's more medical options, and well, yeah, they put me in a boot, and that was basically the end of the Florida trip. But I want to read a comment here real quick from our friends at Micro Air. By the way, in Mini Tini One, I still have a soft start, an easy start from Micro Air. So he says, hello, Robert, from all of us at Micro Air. Que pasen felices fiestas. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. And it's very, very cool that you are joining us here from Facebook, the live stream. Continuing with the recap, I mean, that was the end of the winter trip, and we didn't do much travel wise until April. And in April, of course, Mini Tini 4 was ready. Mini Tini 4, we went to Middlebury, Indiana to pick it up. As you've seen it, a lot of people not criticized me, but questioned my decision to go again to a smaller trailer without a slide. And my logic here is we're going to Alaska. We're going to a place where some roads are going to be bad, and I want to have the least fragile RV possible. And it turned out great. I have a 1720 FB, which is one of a kind because they don't make it in the Flex edition, the FLX with the lithium batteries and the efficient air conditioner, the inverter, and all that. So that Micro Mini actually performed great in Alaska. And for the maiden voyage, we driving south as you do. We boondocked at a brewery in Cincinnati just to make sure that all the batteries and all that worked. We stayed one night at Cumberland Falls in Kentucky. I had been wanting to go there for a very long time, and it's one of those few places. A fun fact, where on a full moon night you can see not a rainbow, but a moonbow. So and that's pretty cool. In Cumberland Falls, and then we spent another couple of days at Camp Margaritaville in Pigeon Forge. They invited me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll have a perfect margarita, and it'll be fun. And then in May, we began, the long trip of the year to Alaska, with which I hope you have been watching all these videos. I'm editing right now the season finale, which is pretty much the drive back from Alaska. But we visited Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's like was like our first major stop, just for a couple of hours. I just wanted to see what it was like. People had recommended it so much. We'll be back. We'll be back to Hot Springs with more time. Then we made a beeline to the west. That's when we did the Oklahoma Panhandle, and we skirted the northwest corner of Texas there. Raton, New Mexico. That's the first time you get to see the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And we did some things in Colorado that we hadn't done before, like the Colorado Springs area. We had never been there, and of course we had to do Pikes Peak, which we drove up there. We next time we're gonna take the Cog Railway, but this time we drove, and let me tell you, you feel the lack of oxygen up there. Then we did the Garden of the Gods, also in that area, beautiful. Went to Cody, Wyoming, Yellowstone National Park, Glacier National Park. Those places I had been to, but Ely had never been to those. So I wanted for her to see at least Yellowstone and some parts. I mean, the Going to the Sun Road was still not open when we were there, but we still managed to see some of the. I mean, Glacier National Park is one of the most beautiful ones. Then, moment of truth. Let's cross into Canada. And my biggest fear crossing into Canada was that I was towing a trailer with dealer plates. That trailer is I'm just borrowing that trailer from Winnebago. So that was my biggest fear. But fear not. They never even check. They never even checked they only wanted to know my truck license plate, which of course I haven't memorized. So they asked, I said, and they corroborated, and yeah, we're good. All they cared was about marijuana, firearms, and booze, basically, and that was about it. And the art of roaming is asking on X, did you stay inside the park? And we did not. We did not. When we went to Yellowstone, we stayed at Sun Outdoors Yellowstone North. It used to be called Rocky Mountains RV Park. It's in Gardiner, Montana. And then when we went to Glacier, we stayed at the KOA, just east in St. Mary's, the St. Mary KOA. And we didn't get to stay inside the park. And then we went into Canada. Of course, being a Star Trek fan, we went to Vulcan in Alberta. And the whole town is decorated in Star Trek theme. And they have a mural. They have a bust of Mr. Spock and a fake transporter. It's one of those things that if you're into Star Trek, you have to go, right? They had this town called Vulcan, and they took advantage of it. Why? How capitalistic of them. Why wouldn't you? And then we went to Calgary, which is Alberta is called the Texas of Canada. And Calgary seems to be a very prosperous city. We liked it. We really liked Calgary. And then, of course, you keep going north and north until you do the famed Alaska Highway, Dawson Creek, and you keep going. And you've seen those episodes and all the stops, that we did. As a highlight, Summit Lake, we stayed one night at the campground there, and which is dry camping, but it was magical. We stayed across the road from Liard River Hot Springs, which I actually dunked in the hot springs. It was pretty cool. Watson Lake, you have to do the Signpost Forest, and by then you realize that it's not getting dark at night. We are close to the summer solstice, and we are getting a little farther north and north and north, and eventually, actually those last 300 miles of the Alaska Highway were pretty rough, but we were surprised to see that most of the Alaska highway is actually fine. It's not the dirt road that it used to be in years past. So I hope you have watched all those episodes. I'm gonna try to put links to all that here in the video description. But yes, as a way of a year review, um, we travel a lot of miles. Of course, we get to the end of the Alaska Highway, Delta Junction. There's not a whole lot to do. We drove a few miles south to see the Alaska pipeline, and from there, serendipitously, we thought we saw like the most beautiful views of the Alaska range, looking south. And I'm like, when we come on the way back on the Richardson, excuse me, Richardson Highway, this is gonna be great. Of course, spoiler alert: it was cloudy on the way back, so we didn't see any mountains. But that's what happens in Alaska, and that's something that you should you should plan for. Don't take the weather for granted. If you have a good weather day, do as much as possible, because especially the farther south you go in Alaska, the more rare are those sunny, beautiful days. Um, Fairbanks, it's a cool city. That was the first city I ever saw in Alaska back in 2010, 13 years ago. This was kind of like the 13th anniversary of that trip. Um, of course, there's the Midnight Sun Festival, which happens whatever weekend is closer to the solstice. They have a midnight baseball game that we didn't go to, but we went to Chena Hot Springs, which is very cool too. They have an ice museum with an ice bar, and they carve you an ice a martini glass where you drink an almost iced apple tini. Wonderful, great bartender. If you A great guide. If you go to Chena Hot Springs, then don't miss that ice museum. There has all kinds of sculptures inside, and even rooms if you want to stay for the night. So that's very cool. And then from Fairbanks, also we did the Dalton Highway, as I mentioned. This was like the biggest challenge of the whole trip. And do watch those videos if you haven't. By the way, as soon as I finish editing all these Alaska videos, I'm gonna start making like movies. So there's gonna be like a very much bench-worthy series. I'm gonna make several movies. Of course, like for example, the the Dalton Highway was divided into like two parts, right? I'm gonna do a whole Dalton Highway movie, a whole Kenai Peninsula movie, a whole Anchorage movie with all the trips and then it's gonna be the whole movie for the Alaska trip might be like 12 hours, more or less comparable to the Lewis and Clark movie. Um, I'm going to pause here on the recap for the year, and I'm going to read some of your comments here in the chat. As I mentioned, we're recording this episode like we've been doing lately before a live audience here. And Sandra Winners on YouTube says, "Hi, Traveling Robert. It's good to see. How was your Christmas? I was watching one of your videos on Theodore Roosevelt. Love Sandra Winners." And Jeffrey Reese from Carson City, Nevada. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Christmas was great. As you probably saw, we roasted a ham, a whole pork leg. I mean, I was gonna do like a shoulder, but that's all they had at Publix, last minute, as you do. And this is the thing, that pork shoulder was a lot larger than that pork leg. It was 24 pounds. It took 9 hours to cook, but it was delicious. I went to my mom's. She invited some friends, and we still have pork left over. Probably we'll probably eat it all the way throughout the end of the year. Kathy Sims Solomon, and talking about what's the farthest we've ever been from home base in Miami. Distance from Miami to Germany, airline, driving route, midpoint distance calculator. Okay, from Miami to Germany is 4,872 miles. Yeah, Miami to Alaska is 4,155 miles. So actually, Germany is farther than Alaska. So I guess Germany is the farthest in the globe that I've ever been from home. I think that's the easternmost I've been in Europe, Dusseldorf. So, well, thank you for answering that question. And Helen Troger, hi Robert, wishing you from Helen Troger on Facebook as well. Wishing you a happy and healthy 2024. Thank you for taking me on your adventures. It's been quite a ride. Looking forward for many more. I don't even know how to talk anymore. Well, I never did, but hey, thank you for your coming. Hey, Jeffrey Di Bartolo on Facebook as well. Hi Robert, my wife said you were on live. I was looking on YouTube, not found you on Facebook. Yeah, I'm on YouTube, but on YouTube, I'm on this little known channel called Living the RV Dream Podcast. And I started doing this on my main YouTube channel, but it kind of messed with the algorithm. So I decided, and I decided to do it on Facebook, on the other YouTube channel, of course, and on X. We're on X too, just because it is easy to broadcast to X. And one more message here before we continue with the recap. Me and my children would just throw tents and sleeping bags in our minivan and simply camp our way through America. Being disabled, I use the access pass to enjoy the national parks and cheap camping. There you go. I mean, uh, we're a little more spoiled in that sense, and I don't know if we could do like uh, tents and sleeping bags. We've never done it. Maybe if we start doing it, maybe we'll like it. So it's one done Führer on coming to us from YouTube, and Gary Sky on Facebook. Hi Robert, thank you again for sharing your Alaska Grill. Uh, and the Art of Roaming on X asking, did you release any music this year? Not yet. It is my goal to release it at the beginning of the year. It might drop like January 1st. I need to remix two more tracks. I'm kind of remixing them a little bit, making them a little bit better for release. Like there's a brand new track called um, Oh, Vancouver, that I want to add a little guitar to it. I mean, it's already gonna be on the Vancouver video, but I want to add a little more to it. Um, and Jimbo Kefart ask, "Do you have a pellet grill?" No, I don't. I hear they're great, but I don't know. By the way, hello, Christopher Olson from Sweden and Buckeye Cuban. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're a Cuban that lives in Ohio. Boondocking in my backyard watching you. LOL. That's awesome. And anyway, let me, since we are recording the podcast here, let me continue with the second part of our recap of 2023. I can't believe it's going to be 2024 already. It's this year has kind of flown by, at least for me. And of course, it was the first time that I broke any bone of any kind. Anyway, Denali National Park, and little known fact, and that's where we left off. Denali National Park, it's a short drive from Fairbanks, an hour and a half, but the only way to really see the park is by getting a tour or getting off one of the shuttle buses if you know where to go. The tour is good because the driver is very skilled at spotting wildlife. So, and he has a nice camcorder with a big zoom and you can see the wildlife on the screens if you can see him with the naked eye. And yeah, the only way to really see the mountain it's by getting on one of these tours. And we were lucky to join the 30% club, the 30% of people who actually get to see the mountain, which was really cool. And there's another way to see the mountain. On a clear day from the park's highway going south, there are two pullouts where you can potentially see the mountain. But by the time we drove south, it had gotten cloudy and rainy. We went to Talkeetna with the intention also of taking a plane ride. They call them flight seeing rides. And there was one, not cheap by the way, but once you're there, you got to do it, right? It's one that goes around the mountain around Peak Denali, and then it lands on a glacier. And what happens? It rained for 2 days straight, 3 days actually, and they canceled our flight twice. So we're like, you know what? We threw our hands up in the air and like, we'll do this later, some other time. They do them in winter too, so who knows? Um, and then from there, of course, the big city, Alaska's largest city, Anchorage. which our friend Ryan, the RV technician, told me, Anchorage is the city that you can see Alaska from there. And that is true. The rest of Alaska has kind of this frontier feels to it, feel. But Anchorage, you got everything, all the chain stores, even, I'm like, they even have a Racing Canes, that is something that you don't really see besides Louisiana and the Midwest much. So I'm like, yeah, we're back in it's like being back in the lower 48. So very cool. We took a tour with Greatland Adventures, sponsored. I mean, they invited me um, to walk on a glacier. We walked on Matanuska Glacier. That was awesome. And the other main thing that we did from there as a home base, besides a couple of hikes and sampling the local cuisine, and actually going to on the Alieska aerial tram, we went to Utqiagvik, Alaska, formerly known as Barrow. We took a plane, regular Alaska Airlines plane. It's only one plane ride, drive, and flight per day. And this is the northernmost inhabited place in North America. We couldn't quite make it to, because we didn't plan well enough, right? We couldn't quite make it to Point Barrow because well, we didn't plan enough. You need like a four-wheeler. The taxi that we hired, couldn't make it all the way up there. So we might go another time. Probably not. I think Utqiagvik is one of those places you visit once, and you can say you were there, and that's it. It's a very interesting place. Of course, then from there we went to the what I call the touristy part of Alaska, which is the Kenai Peninsula. That's where we spent the most time because that's where some of the main towns are. Seward, Homer, Kenai, Whittier, and from Seward we did a cruise. The Kenai Fjords cruise is an 8-hour cruise. Was it 6 or 8 hour cruises? That's what they all last. And even though it was rainy, it was beautiful. We saw humpback whales and glacier calving. I mean, it was awesome. In the town of Kenai, we saw the salmon run. Thousands of people on the beach camping, dip net fishing. That was quite the experience to experience something authentic like that. Seeing the whole town. Actually, you could tell that there were people from all over the state going there to fish for salmon. We went down to Homer, which is probably the southernmost point we went to in Kenai Peninsula. And from there, and we thought we were not going to be able to do this, but we took a float plane, a seaplane to Katmai National Park. And here you have Brook Falls. Brook Falls is this waterfall where you get to see all these bears, grizzly bears, fishing salmon. It's an unforgettable experience. And not only the bears, but the flight there. One of the most scenic flights I've ever been on through such a remote area. And then finally we went to Whittier. You have to take this narrow one-lane tunnel that is shared with the railroad. It's a schedule, and of course we did the 26 glacier cruise from there. Where else did we do after Whittier? We're kind of winding down the trip. We did go to Valdez, but we didn't do much in Valdez. There's the Lulu. I forget the exact name, but it's another very famous boat tour, whale watching tour that you can do. But at this point, I'm like, we already did enough plane rides. We already did enough cruises. So I don't know. We were like, let's just see Valdez, and from there, we just started the way back north to eventually go back east. Yeah, we missed a couple of things that I really wanted to see, like the McCarthy Highway that goes to McCarthy, and there's it goes into Wrangell St. Elias National Park, and you get to walk on another glacier and other things to do. But I want to go back in about 2 to 3 years, and we might do the things we missed. From there, up to Chicken, Alaska, which is we did the top of the world highway, which is the other way to get out of Alaska. Um, Crossing to Canada with hidden gem, Dawson City. What a well preserved gold rush town there. It's in the Yukon Territory. And then we kind of started making a beeline south. We wanted to come back, and at that point, we were still on the fence whether to do the Trans Alaska Highway and go all the way east to Toronto, even Montreal, maybe, or just head back south. And we decided, once we got to well, we did visit one more point of interest in Alaska, and that's Hyder. That's on the Alaska Panhandle, and of course, the highlight there was a Salmon Glacier. But the last thing we did in the frontier, because from there going south, all of a sudden, gradually, not as all of a sudden as it may sound, but gradually you feel like, yeah, we're back in civilization. It's more agricultural, cattle and all that. We stopped in Hope, which I hear is famous for many movies, things that have been filmed there. But the main thing that I wanted to see, the movie Rambo. I'm a child of the '80s. Rambo was one of those like wow movies when I was like in my late teens, and I'm like, I want to see where Rambo was filmed, and it was there, and we saw some of those filming locations. It was cool, and then big city times. We went to Vancouver. We spent a couple of days in Vancouver to do big city things. Like some maintenance on Starship, and I broke my phone along the way. The screen. So I wanted to get a new screen. That didn't happen. They didn't have the screen. Even if they had it, just because I had an American phone, they could only replace for a Canadian made for Canada phone. So I guess some parts are different in different parts of the world, even if it's still North America. So but Vancouver, lovely town, and we also took a seaplane ride to Victoria. Most of you haven't watched those videos yet. Only the chief Pelican heads, the patrons, and members of the YouTube channel. So see, from there we kind of we stopped briefly in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but it was pretty much go 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 go. And 10 days later we were in Florida. So that's been the year, and I'm gonna publish. I'm gonna put it in the podcast show notes, and I'm gonna post probably December 31st. I'm gonna post a picture on Instagram. It's a screenshot of my Google timeline. Google keeps track. I mean, you can turn it off, but in my case, it really helps me do my work. Um, Google keeps track of everywhere you've been, everything you've done. So it's a cool map. It really puts in perspective everything we've done this year. And if next year we finally get to travel internationally, we're gonna keep filling up that world map. The one final thing we did this year was, the trip for the Hershey RV show. We went to the M23 meetup in Michigan at the Lake of Dreams campground. Hang out with the RV DJ Gord. I mean, so many cool people. And then went to Elkhart for the Winnebago open house. Went to Ohio, and they have the Ohio State University has this thing called the Farm Science Review, and think of it as an RV show, but it's all like combines and tractors and farm equipment, and I really, really, really enjoyed that. And there's going to be a video about that too. I have Jim Forey. I don't know if you're still here in the chat on Facebook, but he's going to be my consultant for this video, because Jim, of course, is who invited me, and he spoke with some of the reps, and he didn't let me go to John Deere, so I'm still bitter about that. But but we saw everything else, and on the way back we stopped by Asheville, North Carolina, just because it is a cool town. So and the big thing, Hurricane Idalia. It kind of didn't destroy much, but we lost a lot of trees at Pelicamp, and that's probably the first thing we're gonna do next year. Finish cleaning up Pelicamp. So I'd say overall, I think it's been a pretty well traveled year, and I'm gonna share that screenshot of my Google timeline just to prove it. I'm gonna go through some of your comments here, and then I'm gonna stop the podcast recording and then wrap up the live stream here with you guys on Facebook, YouTube, and X, just because I can. When are you gonna visit Carson City, Nevada again? Love Sandra Winners. Sandra Winners, I would love to visit on the Eclipse trip, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. Um I'm really gonna try. I hear some noise in the background. I hope it's nothing. Um, from John Zenk on Facebook, I really enjoy watching your videos. John and Debbie from Napa, California. Napa, California is another place that I want to go to. Mr. Robato says on YouTube, Dawson City was great, except for that one restaurant that was busy with tourists. Well, that was the main place, which is that sourdough saloon. I decided to give him a second chance, actually, and the second chance was much better. So there you go. Lewis Clark says, when are you going back to Alaska and how long you think you're going to stay? Well, if all goes well, and I think my source of noise, I have a very old microphone here. That's probably what it is. Um, if all goes well, and we still haven't made reservations, but we're going to in January as soon as we know if all is going to be well. I want to go by the end of February and spend 2 weeks. That's Matthew Balo asking, not on YouTube, not on the regular YouTube channel. No, today we're broadcasting on the Living the RV Dream podcast channel on YouTube, which, by the way, doesn't have a lot of views, doesn't have a lot of subscribers. So if you want to watch more podcast videos, do subscribe to that channel. Kirk Jurgens, any plans to come to Minnesota in 2024? And he's on Facebook. Probably, because I want to. One of the plans for this summer is to drive all around the Great Lakes. So, yep. Come to Buffalo for the eclipse. Johnny Peppers says, right now I'm thinking Texas, but you never know. You never know, because if it is cloudy in Texas, we might make a beeline for Ohio or Buffalo, or we'll see. You know, kind of it's kind of hard to park the RV anywhere in a busy big city like Buffalo. And by now, you know, all the state parks, all the campgrounds are oversold. The RV DJ talking about M24. M24 will be just as fun. I'm sure it'll be. I'm gonna try to make it. I believe there's an NJ24 also in the books, or in the plans. Anyway, those of you watching live, don't go anywhere. But those of you listening on the podcast, I'm gonna start wrapping this one up on the next one, and we're gonna do some voicemail and some email and other things. And of course, when the time comes, we're gonna be talking about the Tampa RV show. But for now, this is it. And for those of you listening on audio, I'm gonna leave you with a tune. I'm gonna save the tune for next week. Tell you what. So it's been my honor and my privilege to be able to hang out with you guys one more year in 2023, and hopefully we can do this again next year. This is the last podcast of the year, not the last live stream, but the last podcast of the year. By the way, there will be a live stream on I have several YouTube channels. For those of you who don't know, there's a YouTube channel that is just called my name, Robert Morales. That's my music. And there's a good chance that there's going to be a New Year's Eve concert. We're gonna start it at 5 p.m. Eastern, which happens to be midnight UTC. So we're gonna celebrate UTC midnight. We're gonna celebrate Western Europe midnight, which happens an hour later. Probably Central Europe midnight, which is, so it's gonna be like a little over 2 hours. I'm gonna do some music, have some fun, and that'll be on the Robert Morales channel. I'm getting confused here. So for those of you listening on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. See you next year. See you on the road. And thank you so much for watching, because we are living the RV dream and loving the RV lifestyle, because I'm free in my RV. All right. Bear with me 1 second. Let me stop recording and save, just in case, because I always forget to save. And one of these days, my computer is going to crash and I'm going to have to re record the podcast. This is Living the RV Dream 0306. Save. And now we get to hang out a little more. We've been doing 45 minutes, so we can do 5 more. And says the RV DJ, that's a wrap. Yep, actually, give me a sec. Let me get some water, because my throat is dry. So now we can hang out a little more. Mr. Roboto, this may be a first where we haven't had significant snow in New Hampshire yet. Not really complaining, just weird. Hey, it's weather is crazy. It's been raining all day here in Miami, which was kind of sucked to take mom to her follow up for her retina surgery, but uh, we've been very lucky that she had a great surgery. So Thomas Finnerty, happy new year. Thank you, brother. I got your book back there, by the way. Actually, I have it right here. If you haven't, check out Tom's book, RV Tips and Tales, his second book. Very cool. And Jill Parrish says, bye, Robert. Bye, Jill. And Lewis Clark, supposed to have snow in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was dreaming of a white Christmas, but of course, it never snows here. Lewis Clark, that makes me sad when I won't see Traveling Robert in Carson City, Nevada. Well, you'll see me, just I don't really have any plans right now. It's but you never know. I'm thinking at some point I'm gonna go full time, and then I'll be visiting every part of the country more than once a year. Cold weather in South Florida, yeah, it's gonna be cooler, yeah. Mr. Roboto, I wish I had posted better comment for Robert for the podcast. I was late to the party, and I always forget that, and I should have done it here, so that you can actually be part of the live stream, right? If you click on that link I have just posted in all the chats, actually that link I can post on Facebook and YouTube, but not anywhere else. Stan Gregory says, hello from Salem, Oregon. What kind of drone do you use? I have a DJI Mavic 2, Mavic Pro Zoom 2. I like having the zoom. How is Illy liking her new bike? She loves it. We haven't been able to ride much because the only problem with that bike is kind of bulky. So it doesn't really fit in the back of the truck with the tonneau cover on. So what we're thinking, we're going to eventually take it to Pelicamp and leave it permanently at Pelicamp. But yeah, she's liking it very much. From Judy Magnus Sides, Happy New Year, Robert, Illy, and Mama Morales. Praying Mama recovers quickly. Thank you so much. I think I'm positive. How's the itch to hitch? The itch to hitch is real, brother. What kind of pop-up camper you have? But I don't have a pop-up camper. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me, Lewis Clark? I am. Brandon. Okay, never mind. I don't even know how to do this. Jill Parrish, can't wait to see you when you come through Pennsylvania. We'll get you an IPA. Absolutely. And well, if we're gonna do that Great Lakes circumnavigation, uh, well, we're gonna stop by Erie, Pennsylvania, which is like the top northwest corner of Pennsylvania. There, so technically we'll be in the state. Pennsylvania is a large state though, so going to the Big Ten show in Arizona. I wish I could be in two places at the same time, and I'm thinking if next year I do agree to go to the Tampa RV show, what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna drop the camper in Quartzsite and fly to Florida, um, do the Tampa RV show, and fly back to Quartzsite to be able to do both. Did I hear you maybe full time at some point in the future? Well, let's call it soft full timing. I'm always gonna have a home base, but I wanna be able to travel more, travel longer and farther. So we'll see, we'll see. It's just a pipe dream. It's something that I think from time to time. But what kind of IPA for today? No IPA too, Sandra. I still have a lot of stuff to do today. It's early, but tomorrow we're probably gonna have another funky Buddha. On Facebook, we have been on vacation this week and catching up on your shows. Watch a lot of Alaska last night. Made me envious. Can't wait to see Alaska. Alaska was fabulous. I recommend everybody, if you can do it, at least take a cruise or fly there. Because I know driving there is quite the commitment. So yeah. Gus Navarro, Roberto, great videos. How do you mount your camera on the top of the camper? It's just a regular, uh, like a helmet mount. I use the flat one, and they come with a 3M double sided tape. And as long as you clean that fiberglass well, it it'll stay up there. Will you be doing the Hershey show next year? It's very likely. It's very likely. Yes. I'll probably just do one day or two, not the whole week. But yeah, I'll definitely go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Don't forget tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna be on the other YouTube channel. But today we're on Facebook, and yeah, I'm confused myself. So, um, Greg Kurtz, be sure to go to Lake Erie Islands, Putin Bay. Yo, definitely. I love Putin Bay and Kelly's Island. I haven't been there. Been circling the Great Lakes in Ohio. Yeah, I wanna see if I can stay at South Bass Island State Park, which they have a campground there on Putin Bay. Full time, part time is what we call it. Which a home base with a home base, sort of what we have been doing the last year. There you go. Yeah, I think full time technically is when your RV is your only home, and I don't think I want to downsize all that much. In any case, yeah, I might keep getting text messages. Anyway, I'm sorry. I probably got wet today. That's probably what it is. So see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. See you New Year's Eve, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then well, New Year's Eve is Sunday, so Sunday will be the Vancouver video. All right, everybody, have a great day, and see you tomorrow. End stream. Yes.